greatest manipulators in human history. I feel like I could go down as one of the greatest manipulators in human history. Get it? Because I manipulated over like 600k on the main channel, W600k by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, and also like 200 something k on the second channel. Subscribe, you know, like I'm really up there, bro. I'm really up there as a leader, like a leader of something at least, right? You know who the greatest manipulator in the entire world is though? You really got to think of it. Who's the greatest manipulator in the entire world? Your parents, bro. Because like you were really conceived in the world. Like you didn't choose to be conceived in the world, but like you kind of don't really care because you're alive at the current moment. You're alive at the current moment and you're living and breathing. But did you consent to being born? You didn't consent to being born. And you know, you just lived your life like normal, right? You lived your life like normal, and you got yelled at for things you didn't know about. You got yelled at for bad things you do. You didn't even know they were bad. You really got to think of it. You didn't even know they were bad. Like what were you supposed to do? What were you supposed to do? But yeah, with that being said, let's get into it.
In this video, I'll be showing you the top 8 greatest manipulators in the history of humanity. Let's get it. Number 8, Nicolo Machiavelli. Machiavelli became so manipulative that his name soon got recognized in the dictionary.
I'm not gonna lie, that might be, I don't know what this dude did, but that might be one of the hardest names I ever heard. Bro, Italians just be having cool names. Is he Italian or am I pulling my bad, bro? I don't know. It sounds like an Italian name, but like it sounds cool, no? Like it sounds like a cool name. This dude could be doing anything evil, and I'd be like, damn, but he has a nice name though. Like it's good because of that.
As a personality trait characterized by manipulation, immorality, and egoism. Machiavelli, who was once a philosopher and diplomat, largely had his manipulative tendencies hidden until after his death, when his political treatises, The Prince, and other writings were published almost 20 years after he wrote them, and 5 years after his death. What an irony. What? A manipulative diplomat indeed. In the first decade of the 16th century, he carried out several diplomatic missions, most notably to the papacy in Rome. Florence sent him to Pistoia to pacify the leaders of 2 opposing factions which had broken into riots in 1501 and 1502. And when this failed, the leaders were banished from the city, a strategy which manipulative Machiavelli had favored from the outset.
I mean, that's kind of smart though. He's more like that is very smart manipulation, because you got to be like, all right, calm down, I'm gonna stop the fighting, then I'm gonna take over both your places. It's more like just taking your territory.
At the start of the 16th century, Machiavelli conceived of a militia for Florence. And he then began recruiting and creating it, staffing his army with citizens rather than mercenaries. Though he gained initial success, it was only short-lived, and after a few more troubles, he reduced his political involvement and wrote more. However, his passion for politics remained. But shockingly, after his death, Machiavelli's name came to evoke unscrupulous acts of the sort he advised, most famously in his work, The Prince. He claimed that his experience and reading of history showed him that politics have always been played with deception, treachery, and crime.
I mean, is he wrong though? He was kind of ahead of his time, because like nothing really changed to me. Nothing really changed to me though. He was like, all right, damn, I'm going into I already know it's about I gotta lie, I gotta be doing crimes, and it is what it is, and I'm gonna write it down, and I'm gonna tell y'all like I already knew what the game was, and I figured it out before. I wasn't just gonna learn this stuff when I got there. I already knew.
Also notably said that a ruler who is establishing a kingdom or a republic and is criticized for his deeds should be excused when the intention and the result are beneficial to him. Machiavelli's Prince has been surrounded by controversy since it was published. Some consider it to be a straightforward description of political reality, while others view the Prince as a manual, teaching would-be tyrants how they should seize and maintain power. It was, however, disappointing that what a diplomat would be most remembered for was his writing on propagating tyranny. And now we're on to a more practical manipulator, the one with bloodstains on his hands. Number 7. Charles Manson. Here's the manipulative cult hero whose manipulative history started as early as his childhood.
Bro, the crazy thing is about Charles Manson is like, I think he had a wife or something before he died in prison. Like, bro, it's really crazy how dudes be going into prison and they still be pulling somehow. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I might just be a repellent, bro. Cause like, how did he have a wife? Wasn't he a serial killer or something? He was a serial killer. Nah, cause what am I doing wrong? Like life is just unfair, bro. Life is just unfair.
You'd show me a more devoted manipulator. In the summer of 1969, all eyes were on Los Angeles, where 9 people had been murdered. Among the dead was Sharon Tate, a movie star and wife of movie director Roman Polanski. Police said a cult called The Family was responsible. The leader of the family was the charismatic and manipulative Charles Manson. America was captivated by him and by the young woman who, under his manipulative spell, had snuck into 2 houses in Los Angeles to murder people they had never...
Bro, I be thinking a lot of these like serial killers, bro, they would be putting up LeBron numbers. Like Charles Manson, bro, and any handsome dude gets on TikTok, whatever, can manipulate a bunch of girls and just be like, oh, haha, I don't care. It could be in the thousands, bro. It could be in the thousands. I'm so glad we don't got, I was about to say, I'm so glad we don't got crazy niggas like that anymore, but we definitely do, so. It's bound to happen eventually. I don't know when, but it's bound to happen.
Never met. The trial was nationally broadcast, and Manson became a household name. More than 4 decades after the murders, Manson is still a fascination for many, though much about his life remains murky. Even from an early age, Manson gave signals of trouble ahead. As a cousin of Manson revealed, there was never anything happy about him. Never anything good about him. It was amazing how the patterns of his later life were evident right away. 6 years old.
Bro, to know that as a character trait, like just a character to somebody is bad. Because like that's his family member. That's bad.
First grade, he's talking to girls into his class, into beating up boys he doesn't like. That's when the principal comes to ask Charlie, why did you do that? Charlie's response is, it wasn't me. They were doing what they wanted. You can't blame me for that.
Bro, he was born with the juice already. How is that even How do you talk to somebody into doing the work for you? That you bear, like, that is, I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how people fall for that also, because, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just, it's smarter than the average person or some shit, but I'd be like, no, I'm not getting in trouble for your shit, unless if I'm getting paid or something. I'm not doing it.
The exact same debate he uses all those years later in the Tate LaBianca trial. The key to Manson's manipulation, as with all cult leaders, was to ensure that followers not only saw him as an all-powerful messiah-like figure, that followers see themselves as members of a superior elite that has the answer to the world's problems, even if that means killing the rest of the world along the way. Manson deceived his followers into committing murders to trigger Helter Skelter, where there would be a race war, which would elevate him to world leadership. He deployed his manipulative skills into the painting of an apocalyptic worldview that was captivating for his followers. And at the end...
Crazy thing is, he did this all without social media, too. That's the thing about all these serial killers. They built up their portfolios and whatnot, and no social media. I don't know how we haven't had, like, a serial killer that's done, like, something massive, like 1,000 people with social media, because you could access the whole world. They were doing this when they had, like, small access to wherever they were.
Many of Manson's followers went to prison for their crimes, and others felt tremendous guilt later about their actions. And on the other hand, Charles Manson died in prison on November 2017, aged 83, after serving a life imprisonment sentence since 1971.
Buddy.
Number 6.
1971? 50 years in the slammer? Bro, guys, please stay safe as a civilian. Bro rotted in there. Yo, this is why I never claimed to be a gangbanger, you know what I'm saying? I am a goddamn bro. I sit here and do content and shit, alright? I'm never gonna act so hard where I'm trying to catch a body. Because you mean you're sitting in prison for 50 years? 50 years bro, staring at walls and eating prison junk. Ugh. Yeah, what even is the point of life? I wonder for those people that are like, that have done those crimes, that are still in prison since the 70s, 80s, like, how do they feel? They always like try speed running away to end their life, and I don't even blame them, to be honest, bro, because like, I'm not spending that much time staring at brick walls and talking to dirty ass niggas.
6. Bernard Madoff. From electronic trading to nationwide manipulation, Bernie really went all the way. Bernard Lawrence, or Bernie Madoff, was an American financier who executed the largest Ponzi scheme in history, defrauding thousands of investors out of tens of billions of dollars over the course of at least 17 years, possibly longer. He was also a pioneer in electronic trading and chair of the NASDAQ in the early 1990s. Madoff had a chip on his shoulder and felt that he was not part of the Wall Street in crowd. According to Madoff, he began to make a name for himself as a scrappy market maker and was perfectly happy to take the crumbs.
Bro, to be honest, like, there's so many people that like control the stocks and whatever. You know they manipulate the out of it. They manipulate the out of it, and we'll never really know, because like they'll never get caught, bro. You know how many people do it, like politicians, whatever, and they never get caught because they got that shit secured. They got that shit secured.
Giving the example of a client who wanted to sell 8 bonds. Bigger firm would disdain that kind of order, but Madoff's would complete it. However, Madoff then attracted investors by claiming to generate large, steady returns through an investing strategy called split strike conversion, a legitimate trading strategy. Shockingly, Madoff deposited client funds into a single bank account that he used to pay existing clients who wanted to cash out. He funded redemptions by attracting new investors and their capital, but was unable to maintain the fraud when the market turned sharply lower in late 2008. On December 10, 2008, he confessed his wrongdoing to his sons, who worked at his firm. Following day, they turned him over to the
Nah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Respectfully, them kids. Cause what? If I have a kid, they better be stay down toes with me. I don't care if I'm sitting doing some shit like this, doing some fraud. I tell you this, bro. Y'all better be stay down with me. And if I get caught, you don't even gotta defend me, to be honest, bro. You don't even gotta defend me. You could just be like, oh yeah, wow, I didn't know. Oh my god, like wow, what? Wow. Like hit one of those, like a wow, or something like that. Snitching? Come on, bro. That's actually heinous. Getting snitched on by your kids is crazy work. I would be so pissed. I'd be so pissed that I raised some kids like that. Like, y'all could have at least just stayed quiet. If they come up to you, just be like, just act surprised.
authority. The fund's last statements indicated it had $64.8 billion in client assets, though it's not certain when Madoff's Ponzi scheme began. He testified in court that it started in the early 1990s, but his account manager, Frank DePascali, claimed it was longer. Even less clear is why Madoff carried out the scheme at all. I had more than enough money to support any of my lifestyles and my family's lifestyle. I didn't need to do this for that, he told Fisherman, adding, I don't know why. The legitimate wings of his electronic business were extremely lucrative, and Madoff could have earned the Wall Street elite's respect solely as a market maker and electronic trading pioneer. He died in prison at age 82 on April 14, 2021, while serving a 150-year sentence for money laundering, securities fraud, and several other
it's bad, but like, was it that crazy? If everybody got their money back, was it that crazy, bro? 150 years? Bro, there are rapists that don't get that much time. Like, goddamn, bro. And dude, what happened to his elite connections and whatnot in Wall Street? Did they just not want to help him? Man, that should just go to show you the politics and financial world is full of phonies, bro. Phonies. I would never scam the government ever.
Felonies. And now diving deeper into the list, where you have the baddest manipulators that didn't just deceive a person or group, but nations and continents. I call on you to fight for your city. Fight with everything you've got for the sake of your wives and your children, your mothers and your parents.
Someone got sent over 1,000
Your arms are defending everything we have ever held dear and all the generations that will come after us. Be proud and courageous. You probably thought that this was a motivation. Well,
I thought
it was a manipulation at its very peak, as the man who made the statement to encourage the crowd killed himself, his wife, and 6 kids 8 days after the statement. In instigating the deadliest war in history that obliterated as much as 6 million Jews, Adolf Hitler used a lot.
Wait, who's that, guys? I'm out the loop. Am I tripping? Who's that? No, I'm just playing. I'm sorry.
Of people as tools. He had those who would recruit new men, and also those who would be at the war front. But most importantly, he had loyalist Joseph Goebbels, who was responsible.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, out of all manipulators to ever exist, who said Kanye camo, bro? Let's be serious, bro. Alright? Out of all people, though, of like manipulators, has to be #1 in history. Not even close, bro. Not even close. You really gotta think of it. Really manipulating a whole nation to just like, bro, hate one single race group of people. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Even when segregation was going on in America, there was a lot of, like, people that did not agree with it. Before, even when it was popular or whatever. Even when it was popular, before, there was a lot of people. A lot of people, bro, they were just like, hey, I don't care, bro. I'm on his side.
Well, for the media operations, he was the one in charge of the manipulation of the public, painting whatever image he felt.
Why do you call him Joseph Goebbels? Probably not to get demonetized.
Wanted from the public. After Hitler became chancellor in 1933, he named Joseph Goebbels the Minister for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda. With this position came Goebbels' complete control over all media within Germany. He used this control to paint Hitler in the most favorable light. Well, at the same
I'm so glad, bro. I'm so glad we got goddamn social media and whatnot. Because knowing about news, you really got to think of it. Before, in every nation, news was controlled by the government, bro. They just said whatever the they wanted to, and then people had to believe it. And after that, if you were the person that disagreed with it, you were like the conspiracy theorist or something like that. You were like, maybe this is bad. People are like, what? You're crazy, bro. No way. Everybody agrees this way, bro. We learned it from the TV. The TV is like our new thing.
Same time, censoring opponents of Nazism and stirring up hatred for Jews. It was absolutely necessary for the German government to be able to control the thinking of the German people. And even before the beginning of the war, Goebbels had the massive task of downplaying fears of war in Germany. And during the war, Goebbels was needed in newly conquered territories, as he and his department were sent to disseminate prepared speeches using existing announcers to gain the local citizenry's trust. Back in Germany, the propaganda continued, with the infamous burning of all un-German books and more than half the films made being propaganda, as he saw films as a powerful tool to complement radio broadcasts. As the war progressed and Germany lost the initiative, Goebbels presided over an increasingly difficult task of keeping Germany's morale up. Again, there was another hitch here. As the war neared its end, Hitler's need for Goebbels waned, as the focus became aimed more at military matters than with matters of propaganda. Regardless, Goebbels finally found his place as Hitler's most loyal confidant, but it was not to be a lasting success, as Hitler would commit suicide shortly thereafter. Goebbels retreated to Hitler.
Which is a theory. Because, hold up now. Y'all know about that German-Argentina town? Bro, there's a town in Germany, or not Germany, there's a town in Argentina that speaks German, bro. So they say he lived after. I swear it's true, bro. All right? I swear it's true. Because they never found a body.
Hitler's bunker with his family and spent his final days in the presence of the Führer. Before Hitler shot himself, he dictated his last will and testament. In it, he named Joseph Goebbels as the Reich Chancellor, although Hitler gave Goebbels the order to leave Berlin.
So he basically died as the most hated leader ever, and he was like, all right, bro, listen. Here you go. Lead on the people. Like, bro, what? Hell nah. The fuck? Yo, if I was him, okay, that's a crazy comparison saying if I was him. Okay, hold up. But like, y'all get what I mean. Bro, I'm dipping, all right?
Goebbels recounted that it was the only order from the Führer that he would ever disobey for reasons of humanity and loyalty. After Hitler shot himself, Goebbels carried out his only acts as Reich Chancellor, sending a message to Soviet Marshal Zhukov under a white flag and delivered by the German general Hans Krebs. The message stated that Hitler was dead, and Goebbels called for a truce. This request,
you waited until he was dead to try to make some type of peace treaty? Bro, come on. You waited until he was dead, bro? Nah, they're not serious with this. That just goes to show, bro, with like a lot of countries and whatnot. That just goes to show, bro, people in political positions, especially when they have a boss, they're just dick riders. Because they're scared to lose their job. Because like after the person who was running it, like whether it's the president, whatever president is, because y'all know that whenever a president comes in, like whether it's Trump or Biden, they bring like a whole new team. I forgot what it was called. They bring like a whole new team of people that control different things. Bro, those people are scared to lose their job because like, you know what I'm saying? They're under them. They got the job because of whoever it was. Yeah, the cabinet. That's what they're called. The cabinet. Like, that is just so crazy to me that they were probably all thinking it too, but they never do anything. Because like, they don't want to be fired.
Was denied. Seeing no alternative, Joseph and his wife, Magda, decided to murder their 6 children before committing suicide. Once they ended their kids, Joseph and Magda walked out into the gardens and shot themselves. Really? He must have manipulated his own kids too.
Damn, bro. Damn. I mean, to be honest, I can see why they did it. Because, like, do you know what the fuck they did? Do you know what the fuck they did? If they even caught the kids, they probably would have tortured them, like, forever. It's fucked up, but, like, I understand why they did it. But, like, it's just so fucked up. It's so fucked up. This shit is twisted. Because 100% the kids would have been in the chopping block.
Well, to remember to
even though they had nothing to do with anything.
To this channel. Number 4, Napoleon Bonaparte. A better insight into Napoleon's manipulative tendencies may require a short trip to France. And should you make the trip, there's a famous painting of Napoleon Bonaparte hanging in the Palace of Versailles in France. This painting is of a young Napoleon in an oppressed military uniform. It depicts him with wispy platinum hair, and a saber as he waves a French flag with smoke in the background. Other similar paintings depict him crossing a bridge with his flag, or standing triumphantly on the bridge as Austrian soldiers flee before it. These are national symbols of victory and pride, of French bravery and dominance. However, most of these paintings are instruments of manipulation in themselves. Napoleon was at the battle you see in the paintings, the Battle of Arcole in 1796, but he never touched the flag and never even came close to it, according to historian Philip Dwyer, author of Citizen Emperor. Quoting the biography, Napoleon is portrayed on a bridge with a flag, but he didn't get within 60 meters of it. In fact, at one stage...
I mean, does that really matter, though? I think it's more of like a symbolism for like the country and whatnot. Like if they drew, I don't know, a president with a flag, or I don't know, somebody like George Washington holding up the flag. I'm like, he probably wasn't doing that in the middle of the thing. But like, yeah, I don't think it's really like manipulation like that.
He was pushed, or rather blown into a ditch, face down in the water. He had to be saved by his grenadiers. If it weren't for them, he may well have drowned. It was during the Battle of Arcole in 1796 that Napoleon was promoted to commander and given command of the whole French army in Italy. A sick, weak, crumbling army with a brand new commander. And then the Battle of Arcole happened. And against ridiculous odds, Napoleon managed to hold his own at a little bridge for 3 days. Then he sent to Austrian generals fleeing with their tails between their legs. But here's the part most people know nothing about. The newly promoted commander, Napoleon, rushed back to Milan, and he commissioned a painting from a famous artist named Baron Antoine Jangot. It's a painting that puts Napoleon himself in the center of the action, holding the flag that was dropped at the bridge in Arcole. Napoleon I was a French emperor and military commander who rose to prominence during the French Revolution and led successful campaigns during the
that's goddamn George Washington. What was that?
Of course. Well, the tales that Napoleon was a manipulator remains a complex one, as his legacy as a ruler is mixed. While it's true that he did rule as a dictator during his later years, he was also responsible for many reforms that improved the lives of ordinary French citizens. For example, he established a system of public education, reformed the legal system, and introduced the Napoleonic Code, a legal system. Furthermore, Napoleon's rule was characterized by a degree of stability.
He did more good, right? Like, the only bad thing is like they drew a picture of him with a flag, like, and he didn't actually hold a flag. Who cares, bro?
And relative peace that was rare during his time. However, it is also true that Napoleon's reign was marked by control of the press and censorship of the performing arts and literary publications in order to maintain the narrative that he wished his citizens subject to retain. He also did not always respect the rights and liberties of his subjects. Even when he headed the military, he was immensely manipulative in dealing with his soldiers, always refusing to concede, even to his men, that they're in a defeat or retreat, with one of the most notable cases being the battle at
He did start a big war killing 100,000 people. It is what it is, bro.
Egypt. Despite losing more than half of his soldiers at the Battle of Acre, Napoleon was able to deceive the unsuspecting French public into believing the battle was a huge success. He not only abandoned his men in the face of the battle and fled to France, he also deceived the public through his bulletins that served as his major instrument of manipulation and deception. The phrase, to lie like a bulletin...
He was like, nah, f this, bro. I did. This is way too much for me. That's what I would do as a leader. Honestly, that's what I would do as a leader. A W gaslighter
was pretty common in French slang at the time, as it was so ingrained how untruthful Napoleon's bulletins were. Number 3. Julius Caesar. It is often said that when you give people an inch, they respond by taking a mile. This was exactly the case of Julius Caesar, who eventually manipulated his way into dictatorship from a Roman general. In 60 BC, Caesar, Crassus, and Pompey formed the First Triumvirate, an informal political alliance that dominated Roman politics for several years, and their repeated attempts to amass political power were opposed by many in the Senate. Among them was Cato the Younger, with the private support of Cicero. However, Caesar rose to become one of the most powerful politicians in the Roman Republic through a string of military victories in the Gallic Wars, completed by 51 BC, which greatly extended Roman territory. During this time, he both invaded Britain and built a bridge across the River Rhine.
Nah, he invaded Britain? Damn, bro. Maybe that's why they were so mad and they started, like, invading everybody. Because they were like, oh, man, these French people, bro, invading us. Like, goddamn, we gotta, like, colonize everywhere, bro. We got to colonize everywhere.
And with the Gallic Wars concluded, the Senate ordered Caesar to step down from his military command and return to Rome. A general leads during war and sits in...
Caesar was a Roman? Bro, whatever.
Peacetime. But Caesar
I can't run through all the history facts, guys, okay? I can't run through all the history facts.
Having none of it. In 49 BC, Caesar openly defied the Senate's authority by crossing the Rubicon and marching towards Rome as the head of an army. This began Caesar's civil war, which he won, leaving him in a position of near...
How did they even declare war back then, too? Like, okay, through like the 1700s, 1800s, like, they knew when a war was going on, right? They would know fucking guns would be going off, a bunch of things. How would they just, like, all the citizens just end up finding out? It had to take them, like, a long time. They didn't. They just started fighting. I just imagine they just started, like, chopping each other up. That's the only thing I can imagine, because just go and yell to the enemy, like, they had to be like, fight! Or something like that. And then everybody just started fighting.
Unchallenged power and influence in 45 BC. After assuming control of the government, Caesar began a program of social and governmental reform, including the creation of the Julian calendar. He gave citizenship to many...
Thank God we don't got that calendar, because what the hell was that? Could y'all imagine we have to look through a calendar like this to... Holy shit, bro. Yo, they were just like way smarter before, because I don't understand a single thing going on. Actually, wait, is that the months? I got the months right there. That's February, that's June, that's July. Boom, I understand it now.
Julian calendar. He gave citizenship to many residents of far regions of the Roman Republic. He initiated land reforms to support his veterans and initiated an enormous building program. Well, as you'd expect of a...
Damn, that shit didn't work because all their buildings are destroyed. Just, the Colosseum, all that stuff is absolutely demolished.
Typical manipulator, even his good actions are suspicious.
Showing a Gen Z kid this, I ain't reading that.
Caesar was guilty. In early 44 BC, he was proclaimed dictator for life. Dictator perpetual. Just after his reforms.
Oh, hell nah, bro. Oh, hell nah. That's like basically if every fucking nation was like North Korea. Like, basically the dictator was there for, like, you got no choice, bro. You got no choice.
It turned out his reforms also had selfish intentions in them. His goal was to win the people and buy them into his dictatorship ambition. Fearful of his power and domination of the state, a group of senators led by Brutus and Cassius assassinated Caesar on the Ides of March 15, 44 BC. And now we have two men considered the
most... It must have been easy as to assassinate somebody too, because first off, no DNA, no police force. I'm pretty sure they had no police force. Maybe like a couple Roman guards or something like that or whatever. It was probably easy as hell. They had no guns though, so they had. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to just like slice his neck or something, but must have been easy.
Most dangerous men in history. Number 2, Joseph Stalin. You would be hard-pressed to find a negative adjective that does not describe Joseph Stalin and his reign of terror in the Soviet Union. His manipulative tendencies were soon displayed after he came to power in 1929. Beginning in 1934, he wiped out an ever-changing group of political enemies. Some 750,000 people died during the Great Purge, as it is now known, and more than a million others were banished to remote areas to do hard labor in gulags. During the purges, many of Stalin's enemies simply vanished from their homes. Others were executed in public after show trials. And here's where he gets even more manipulative with Stalin. Since Stalin knew the value of photographs in both the historical record and his use of mass media to influence the Soviet Union, his enemies not only disappeared from the face of the earth, often disappeared from photos too. This quasi-artisanal work, one of the more enjoyable tasks for the...
What did he do, bro? He like whited them out the photos or something? How does that even work? That's impossible, bro. Hold on, wait. This had to be like... Did they have like one photo that existed of them? And then like that photo, they just got whited out of it? What the f?
The art department of publishing houses during those times demanded serious dexterity with a scalpel, glue, paint, and airbrush.
Oh, he actually whited them out.
In this manner, Stalin could order written out of history such comrades he ultimately deemed disloyal.
That is crazy.
Sometimes Stalin ridiculously inserted...
And they probably, no, before they barely took pictures, or like, you know, because everybody didn't have a camera. A camera was like a luxury before. So like, it probably wouldn't be that hard, now that I really think of it, to just like white somebody out of like a couple photos.
...himself in photos at key moments in history, or had photo technicians make him look taller or more handsome. But that wasn't all.
Okay, bro.
10 years into his
How does that work? To make him look more handsome? How the f does that even work? I don't know how they would even do that. That must have been a different... That must be harder than actually doing Photoshop.
Leader of the Soviet Union, Stalin's manipulation was evident in the German-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact, which was signed with Adolf Hitler in 1939. His actions were manipulative on a number of levels. First, he greatly disliked Hitler and fascism, and the feeling was mutual. He also realized that he was going to be at war with Hitler at some point in time. Stalin also knew that an argument with Hitler would give his people time to build up arms to defeat Germany when the time came. The manipulation was really brought to light when it was discovered that Stalin had secretly negotiated territories in Eastern Europe that he would receive after the war ended. Despite these arrangements,
bro, they were having a villain off, bro. Him and Adolf were having a villain off.
Stalin negotiated trade agreements with the Allied powers of Britain and France, two countries trying to bring the Soviets into the fold. He conveniently forgot to tell
the crazy fact that these two lived at the same time, like these are some of the worst leaders to ever exist. The fact that they lived at the same time, made deals is like so scary, bro. I wonder if we'll get this in like the 21st century, bro. Like, who do y'all think it will be? Like, it's gonna have to be somebody in the future, because nobody, maybe Kim Jong-un, we could say that, but like, even then, nah. It has to be someone evil like them. Like, these are different types of evil, bro.
These Western powers of his future plans for Eastern Europe. Another more concrete example of the manipulative nature of Joseph Stalin was his skillful use of propaganda. How was he
Maybe
possibly
Trump,
promoted
it's
himself?
Definitely not going to be Trump, bro.
This was not difficult when his government controlled the media. Stalin built a cult of personality around himself in the Soviet Union in a bold attempt to make himself more powerful. He renamed cities in his honor and had the history books rewritten to make himself grander than he really was.
See, that's the thing. That's why a lot of people say you can't trust history books. Especially like, bro, it depends on certain places, but a lot of history books, they're manipulated as like, y'all ever notice in your school history books? A lot of school history books don't teach you, like, the true history, for example, of, like, slavery and what they did. Like, how slave owners would literally grape the slave woman and whatnot, and after that, they would, like, abandon the children. Like, it was a lot of crazy shit, bro. Or, like, they would feed the babies to, like, alligators. This is stuff I literally learned, bro, like, after, on social media, bro, and doing research. It's gonna take a long time, too, because, like, they want to wash, especially if you're in America, right? They don't, you know what I'm saying? They want to wash down the history. They don't want to show the full history, because, obviously, bro, it's their country. It'll make them look bad.
He also had his name inserted into the national anthem. He made every aspect of his life mythical in nature. And when he was going to join his other manipulators after their ends, he died on
history on YouTube
March 1953 at his Kentsevo dacha after suffering a stroke at age 74. He planned some manipulation on the day of his funeral, too. Thousands of Soviet citizens visiting the capital to pay their respects to him died in a human crush. And finally, we have the one and only, the real baddest man on the planet, number one, Adolf Hitler. Few political...
Oh, I thought he just described... before he was describing, like, his underling or whatever.
Leaders took a greater interest in propaganda and manipulation than did Adolf Hitler. World War I shaped many of his ideas. Hitler believed that Germany lost the war because of internal enemies, Jews, socialists, liberals, and other civilians who had stabbed Germany in the back. He also blamed Allied propaganda, which he believed
should have been you. Guys, where do I rank in the greatest manipulators in human history out of 100?
It had weakened the German will to fight. Hitler, a former German soldier, joined the newly reformed Nazi Party in September 1919.
Top 10.
He became its first director of propaganda. His skills as a public speaker increased the party's profile and attracted new members. Sadly,
as a public speaker, bro, from the videos I've seen, he's just yelling and his veins are popping. That shit is scary, bro. That shit is scary. Like, if I saw any political, bro, if I saw a speech of like Biden or Trump just like yelling, bro, with our veins popping out, I'd be scared, bro.
And no idea that all of his showiness was aimed at one thing: manipulation. Hitler's ideas about propaganda guided Nazi strategy as long as he reigned. He hated the Weimar Republic so much that his subversive propaganda aimed to undermine the young democracy. Hitler manipulatively used election campaigns to whip up anger towards the country's leaders. He blamed them, along with Germany's Jews, for the nation's problems. He emphasized that the Nazi Party bore no responsibility for the nation's economic and social ills, because he'd never been part of the government. Thus, he pledged to restore German greatness and to cleanse the state of political corruption. But when he was going to restore anything to them, he restored destruction. Yes, a kind of destruction that the world had never seen. At this 1932 campaign rally, Hitler denounced Germany's democratic government, which resulted in applause from the crowd, an applause that would soon be turned into years of wailing. The victims of Hitler's manipulations were numerous, as Nazi electoral strategy involved winning over as many Germans as possible. The propagandists falsely claimed that the Nazi...
Bro, it's the fact that most of them just, like, did not give a f***, and they just agreed. I think it was like, what was the stat? Like, it's like 90% or something. They just, like, immediately switched.
Movement was open to all Germans, regardless of their social class, religion, or home region. But when he came into power, the people realized how much they've been tricked. Nazi ideology, at its very core, was racist.
Bro, you gotta be like a dumbass though to get tricked by that, no? They had crazy inflation. I wouldn't be surprised. Bro, if it was me, yo, I'm actually smart. I promise you, bro, I would not be that stupid. Like, I understand everybody got their propaganda from like TV and newspaper. Let's be serious, bro. Do you not see things? That's crazy.
And anti-Semitic. And its leaders considered Germany's Jews to be a foreign race.
I would not be fucking
no
manipulated.
Place in the new Germany. Even Jews who had converted to Christianity could not be part of the national community. Hitler ran against the war hero, Paul von Hindenburg, for president and received 36.8% of the vote. Despite this low number, Hitler was able to grab absolute power in Germany, largely due to divisions and inaction among the majority who opposed Nazism. And in the following year, he had all major German leaders that opposed him murdered. And once the chancellor died 2 months later, military leaders agreed to combine the presidency and chancellorship into one.
So, like, did nobody ever say anything about that? Like, they just got murdered, and was there no, like, German police force that was like, alright, there's an odd amount of people dying, and, like, this dude, this mustache guy, you know, he's, like, getting up in political ranks as they die. Like, it's kind of weird. They were probably on his payroll, now that I really think of it.
Hitler now had all the power. Once he was in, the government passed a law stating that the Nazi Party constitutes the only political party in Germany.
That's so crazy.
This secured Hitler's...
Could you imagine in America, they were like, all right, right now, you could only be Republican or like Democrat. That would definitely, like, start a war. 100%, that would, like, start a civil war, bro. You're immediately stripping anybody of being able to pick anything at all. It's just like, no, you gotta do this. And yeah, so you agree with us on anything that happens.
Autocracy in Germany.
That would be a shit show.
Europe was his next target. Germany's invasion of Poland in 1939 led to the outbreak of World War II. And by 1941, Nazi forces had used blitzkrieg military tactics to occupy much of Europe. Hitler's virulent anti-Semitism and obsessive pursuit of Aryan supremacy fueled the murder of some 6 million Jews, along with other victims of the Holocaust. However, the tide of war soon turned against him after allies began liberating cities across Europe. And as the Soviet forces were closing in, Hitler committed suicide in a Berlin bunker in April 1945. And as for his wife, Eva Braun, she took poison, and their body...
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, that's your wife? That's kind of crazy, bro. Like, dude, you're leading a country of this many people. You're this manipulative. You gotta get, like, a supermodel or something, you know? Come on, bro. Come on, man.
Were burned according to Hitler's instructions. And that's it for the greatest manipulator of the planet.
Thank you. But in truth, I am the greatest manipulator on the planet. Alright? Next video, I want to see me in this. If I'm not in this next time, I'm gonna be very upset. Alright, Eisen, sure, nigga. Like, y'all really... Alright, whatever. You know what? Like, you really gotta think the platform I built, everything, like, it's basically manipulation, right? Because, like, how did you even... Do you remember when you subbed or when you followed or you know what I'm saying? Like, do you really remember? You don't. You don't, because guess what? I just, like... I made it happen. Alright, and, yeah, if you're watching on the tube, join the Discord.